with Ray Ferraro, our TSN Hockey analyst. William Nylander's now played in a couple of games. I think he was going to be granted a grace period. Whether you think he deserved it or not, I mean, he's human. I know we all wanted him here in camp and all that, but don't you think, like, it's over now?
What's your number? Like, don't you give him 10 games?
Oh, I don't. No, I'm now. Like, let's get going. I'm not saying you got to score a hat trick tomorrow night, but, you negotiated. That's fine. That happens, but you're a pro and you're getting paid. Last week you did your practices, or you got your games in.
No. He didn't practice.
They practiced on Friday.
That's one.
Okay. So when does it get to a point where this guy's treated like every other athlete?
Over 2 weeks. He's got to practice. He's now practiced, what, twice?
So at the end of this week then, like through next weekend, a week today, we can start looking at him as being a guy that we expect more from? Would be fair? Is that what you're saying, Ray?
Okay, so let's say a guy plays 4 exhibition games, right? With the games that we all hate, but the 4 exhibition games. In the meantime, he practices 10 to 15 times around training camp, and then the season starts. Nylander's practiced twice now and played 2 games, and so to have different set of standards to me is a little silly. Brian, you really sounded like a fanboy right there, by the way.
No, what I'm saying, listen, I'm saying I gave him the grace period. I think I've been more than lenient.
2 days.
Okay.
What it probably means is that the silly season and the preseason that we all can't stand watching these exhibition games.
Send him down to the minors
more than we think.
Like if he then send him to the Marlies.
Yeah, you're going to send a $6 million player to the American League.
Oh, so now the money counts. So if we're talking money, then go earn your money. Like if the money's going to come up, then earn your money.
Brian, this is not like hosting a radio show. It's much more difficult to play a professional sport.
Okay, so what do you expect out of him?
Moving bus. Like we can put a guy in your chair and they'll get through. They'll screw up the brakes, but they'll get through.
Mm-hmm. Same with you in between the benches. Same thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, but see, there's the difference, Brian, is that I don't have an inflated sense of self. Right now.
Really?
I played, and I understand a little bit more, maybe, than some other people. I understand if I took 8 months off and I went to play, it would be more than 2 practices and 2 games.
Okay, Ray, then
I
when?
Would be anywhere near. I already told you, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay, so in 2 weeks, he's got to start playing.
5 to 7 practices. He's going to play 3 to 4 games.
Okay.
Then you're probably going to get a player that's ready to start the season.
All right,
but he's not even close.
No, listen, I said that. Like I've given him. I said as of tomorrow night, I'm not saying he needs to fill the net. He doesn't have to be the best player on the ice, but I don't think it's outrageous to be like, okay, let's contribute. Like I don't think that's.
He was better in game 2 than game 1. I did.
Yeah, I thought he was okay. I mean, I thought the whole team was bad, so I don't know if anyone necessarily stood out.
But I didn't say not standing out. I think he's better in game 2 than he was in game 1. I suspect that by the Tampa game, he'll be better again. That's 2 more games. Then you're going to he had a practice yesterday. He's going to get a practice tomorrow. And it matters. For the most part, once the season starts, practices, I don't know, you just get through it and you're...
Well, they never happen. They rarely ever happen. You never get to practice anymore. Well,
whether he's in shape or not, he's not.
No, and I would say the same thing with Matthews. I mean, I think that showed up on Saturday. We were waiting for that coming off the injury. He was running on adrenaline, and he scored goals when he came back. But the last couple of games, he doesn't look like himself. But we still have expectations out of him.
Yeah, the difference is he's thrown one in the net each game he plays.
Well, Saturday is a perfect example.
Yeah, if Nylander would have scored Saturday, if Nylander would have got the 4th goal to make it 6-4 in a game that was long gone, would people be more happy?
I wouldn't.
Would they say, no? It's got to be about him getting some legs under him, and unfortunately, there's no way to shortcut it. Whatever the hell he was doing in Sweden, it's never going to be the same as it was here.
But why not send him to the Marlies then to play a couple games instead of him taking a spot on the roster up with the big team?
Because, so let's take him off. Then you can play Freddie the Goat more. That doesn't seem like a very good idea. And you send him to the American League. What if some 20-year-old tough kid decides, you know what, I'd like to take a run at him just because. Now, I don't know if it happens as much as it used to, but it used to happen in the American League. The American League is a little bit wilder animal than a little less in control than the NHL, for sure.
It just does seem like a shame if you're saying that he needs to play himself into game shape here over the next 2 or 3 weeks of the regular season, that it's putting the whole team at a disadvantage when those guys have been there the whole time. You know, everyone else showed up to training camp and was able to get their contracts figured out, and now he's coming in and doing training camp during the regular season.
They shouldn't have signed him. They should have just let him sit at home and bring him in next September then. I mean, this is the way the business works. The business and the game intersects. And it's not smooth, it's not pretty. This is a byproduct of it. Lots of guys sign their contracts because they don't have any other options, or they don't have the stones that Nylander showed. And he pushed himself into a place where he gets $17 million by next July. So it was worth it for him. Now there's going to be a time when there is no grace period. But in my books, it's not now. Like, that's unfortunate for, he's only 3 goals behind Connor Brown.
Well, we all know what type of player he is. I mean, no one's suggesting that.
No, but I mean, he's not jeopardizing the team. He's not hurting the roster. He's
no
more effective than anyone else at this point. The last couple of games, they played 2 stinkers. And if he plays good tomorrow, and maybe he will, and maybe he'll get a couple of chances with Kadri, and all of a sudden, you go, oh, well, there's another building block. He was better in Game 2 than Game 1. He's better in Carolina than he was in Boston. Oh, and then it's Tampa. Well, we'll see if he can keep up to the pace of that, if he's in good enough shape to do that. And if he does, you go, oh, there's another step. I don't think it's going to take very long, but I do go back to Babcock's quotes right when he signed, and he's like, it's going to take him a couple of weeks to get up to speed. It's his quotes.
Well, but then he said he should be the freshest player in the league. So he said one thing, and then he said the next.
That was a condescending comment. It was kind of making fun, saying hasn't been here. So it's the joke we all say in the locker room. Oh, you better be fresh. You should be fresh. Whatever.
Yeah, that was kind of a kick in the shins a bit, I think. I agree. Like, I don't know. Look, they played 2 crappy games. They're miles in front of most teams in the league at this point, and they've got to get themselves back on track. Carolina's going to skate like hell tomorrow. They've just been out west. Carolina will get 35 shots like they always do. It's whether they are able to score or not. And for Toronto, it's like, if they work hard enough in the middle of the ice, they'll control the game. And if they don't, then they're going to be in a track meet.